and then there's nothing else, right? No markers, no nothing. You get the little beat grid or whatever. Me, I like to mark mine so I know what is what. Now, a lot of people don't understand. Yeah, you can set cue points on your tracks, fine. Boom, that's one. Let me turn this down a little bit. That's one. Let's say this is two right here, right? I'll give you another one. A little further down. How about here? Catch it right on the beat. 3. Now, here's the 3 cue points. Turn this back up. 1, 2, and then 3. Right? Now, most people will just load it up and leave it. But here's the problem when you load it up and leave it. Let's say it's a track that has a lot of leeway, a lot of lead in front of it. Like there's a lot of space in front of it. You don't want to have to load your track up and then you have to scramble to search through the song to get to the first marker. Or you don't want to load the song and then have to, run to press your first cue point. You load it up and then you got to press 1. What I do, of course, and what everyone should do, which makes life much easier, when you set your cue point on your first one, right, or your second one, depending on where you want the song to start, exactly where you want the song to start. So you load the song up, and if you want it to start at that first point, you set your load marker. Now I'm gonna go back to 1, and I'm gonna set my load marker. To do this, you come to your cue section. Right above 5, 6, 7, and 8 is a little button that says cue, a box that says cue. It's next to the trash can. Click the down arrow and you set the marker, that marker to 1. Now the funny thing about it, I can set all of these to load, right? There we go. Load, load, load. Now, when I reload the song, it's gonna go to that first marking that I have. So let's do that right now. I'm gonna put in another song. Right? I have that one loaded already. Now let's go back to that song I was playing before. See, and it loads right up to where I want it. With these other load markers, you can set it there. If this was a regular cue, let's set this to a regular cue, right? Now we load another song. We reload the previous song. It'll load exactly where I want it to on the second cue point, because I set my second cue point to a load marker. You need load markers because it helps. It takes away a lot of time from having to come and press 1 to get your starting point of your track. Now, for this example, I'm going to take these other cue points and set them back to cues. You come back to load again. You come back to your cue box, and I'm gonna set it to the cue point. I'm gonna go back to 1 and set this as my load marker. So let's show you an example. So I'm going to load my track, load the other, and then I'm gonna load the track we're working with, and it loads up right onto my load marker. That's 1. That's position 1. Now, for these other options in here, in the cue section, it's pretty much straightforward. Now, I'm going to go to 3 marker cue point 3, right? Right. That's cue point 3. Now I can either set this to a cue point, leave it as a cue point. I can set it fade in, fade out. I can set it as a load marker, which I just showed you. I can set it as a beat grid or a loop. Now, if I set it as a loop, that'll give me whatever size my loop is right here set to. Not even set to, but it's marked as. It'll give me that amount to loop. I don't want a loop, right? But if you do, that's what happens. To set a loop, you click. Then all you have to do is when it turns to a cue point, it'll say cue, and all you do is set it as a loop, no matter how big or small. So if I put it on cue and I set my loop size to 32, see, it marks it with the cue, the pre-cues, right? That's a 32 beat, 32 bar, beat. Then I come back to 3. Then I go down to loop. It'll give me a 32 beat loop. But we don't want that right now. We'll come back to that in another video. I'm just giving you examples of what the rest of these options do. This is the beat grid, of course. It'll set a beat grid from where I have it queued up to. So I have it queued up from here. It'll set a beat grid throughout the entire song. But like I said before, I do not like beat grids. So I'm going to delete this one really quick. Come back and set my marker to 3. I want to take this off of cue point, off of loop, and make it a cue point. Now, let's look out for part 3 coming soon.